One thing I've been concerned about recently when traveling in Japan is that famous tourist spots are very crowded. But in this situation, it's very important to know in advance which places are overflowing with tourists. But it's also crucial to visit alternative tourist spots to avoid a congested vibe. So in this video, I will introduce Japanese tourist spots that are currently facing over-tourism issues and hidden gems that we Japanese visit instead. Alright, so the first one is the prime example of over-tourism, which has really become a problem, and it is Kyoto. This city is one you want to visit for sure. However, you are planning to travel to Kyoto, you should be prepared because all the sightseeing spots and shops will be overflowing. So instead of visiting Kyoto, I suggest two alternatives. The first one is Gujo Hachiman. I recently went there. It's not so big castle town situated in Gifu prefecture. The town is not so popular among international tourists yet, but it has a lot to offer. The town developed around the castle and it has beautiful river running through. Honmachi Street is a preserved neighborhood with a traditional vibe that is considered a national treasure of Japan. Another place is Onomichi. It's located in the southern part of Hiroshima prefecture. It's a long winding city where there is a famous temple on the mountain. While being a historic tourist destination, Onomichi also has little cafes and streets where you can meet cute cats. Known as the Little Kyoto of Seto Island Sea, it's a famous tourist spot among Japanese people. I visited there last year, but few tourists compared to Kyoto, of course. And since I didn't see many foreign tourists, it can be said it's still a place where you can comfortably sightseeing. Alright, so the next city where over-tourism is a problem is Kamakura, a great short day trip from Tokyo. The city is now flooded with so many tourists who want to get away from the busy city, ending up in another crowd unfortunately. Since it's easy to access from Tokyo, I believe most of you are planning to go, but you should be prepared for so many tourists there. Well, instead of visiting Kamakura, I'd like to propose an alternative that has fewer tourists and shorter train ride from Tokyo. It's Kawagoe. Kawagoe is located in Saitama prefecture and it's only about 30 minutes away from central Tokyo, which makes it easy for you to visit on the daily trip. Koedo means a little Edo in Japanese, what possesses various traditional architecture that make you feel like you have kind of like time slip to the Edo era in Japan. It's also becoming famous recently, but it's still less crowded than Kamakura for sure, so I recommend it to go. Another popular place where over-tourism is a problem is Shirakawa-go, which is a World Heritage Site. Well, I went there last year 2023 and I saw so many tourist buses. There is a little comment on TripAdvisor saying, quickly realized we were in for a day of tourist overloaded. There are no free eating spaces in town and it is difficult to get pictures without colorful jacket or 50 umbrellas in different colors. People bring tripods and have long photo shoots everywhere, some less considerate than others. It's really nice place, the beautiful scenery of magnificent nature of gassho-zukuri villages cannot be experienced in places like Tokyo or Kyoto. But however, with the increase in the number of tourists, it is undeniable that its charm has declined a little bit. Instead of visiting busy Shirakawa-go, I suggest visiting Suganuma village in Toyama prefecture, which also preserves gassho-zukuri farmhouses just like the one in Shirakawa-go. The number of buildings is limited, but you can still see the traditional buildings hidden among the mountains. What makes it interesting is that you get to stay there with those 170 years old traditional architects. So I believe you can consider it an alternative. I'm sure most of you travel to Tokyo while you stay in Japan, so obviously it's another popular tourist spot that people say over-tourism. Many of you are aware that Tokyo is overflowing with people. However, let's not forget that it may be more than you imagine. Well, to be honest, it's hard to find alternatives for Tokyo. Well, it's simply because Tokyo is the biggest city in Japan and you can find most of the things there. The alternative differs based on what you want to experience in Tokyo. If you want the shopping experience in Tokyo, an alternative plan might be Fukuoka. Fukuoka is receiving like many inbound tourists these days. It offers a variety of shopping experiences. It's also famous delicious local foods. If you want to experience the night view in Tokyo, Sapporo is said to be one of the most spectacular night view spots in Japan. While Tokyo is the number one city in Japan without doubt, however, since Fukuoka and Sapporo are also among Japan's major cities, you might be able to have more comfort and satisfying trip than in Tokyo. Slightly unexpected, but a place that has become a topic of over-tourism is Ishigaki Island. Well, Ishigaki Island is one of the islands in Okinawa prefecture. Despite the extra domestic flight you need to take, this island has become super popular among tourists, especially for water activities such as diving and surfing. So if you plan to visit there, you need to be careful. Alternatively, I suggest rather than staying on one island for a certain period, you might want to join an island hopping plan. There are so many islands that have different uniques and you get to explore different parts of Okinawa prefecture. For example, Taketomi Island is only like 15 minutes away from Ishigaki Island by speedboat, and you will find yourself surrounded by beautiful ocean and tropical trees. Naoshima, an island in the Seto Island Sea in Kagawa prefecture, could be an alternative too. This island has transformed itself as an international center of art and culture. It has various art galleries, art houses, and sculptures across the island. And the contrast of modern art and the ocean in front of you is a unique experience. And there are many more like small islands scattered around for you to explore. This island is the one I want to visit soon, so if you have been there already, please let me know your opinion about it. But I'm sure very few of you have been there before. Alright, so the next one where over-tourism is becoming an issue is Mount Fuji. The number of hikers in 2024 just came out as 204,000. Even though there are a lot of hikers within their opening period, which is only between July and early September. There is some feedback on the Guardian article that says you come to places like this to experience nature, and if there are too many people, where is the beauty in that? But to be honest, unfortunately, it's difficult to suggest alternative places to Mount Fuji. Therefore, for those who really want to visit Mount Fuji, I recommend climbing on weekdays if possible. I'm also planning to climb Mount Fuji soon, so if I learn anything new, I'll be sure to share it with all of you. The 5 places I introduced are frequently mentioned in Japanese news as areas experiencing over-tourism. However, I'd like to introduce some places that haven't yet been labeled as over-tourism, but which I personally feel are becoming over-tourism. Alright, so the first is Kanazawa. Kanazawa has a lot of traditional architecture, including the famous Kenroku-en, a traditional Japanese garden, and a modern art museum. In 2015, this city was connected by the Shinkansen, a Japanese bullet train, which made it very accessible from other big cities. And the number of tourists shooting up. I went there in 2023 when the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions were lifted. While there weren't so many tourists that it made traveling uncomfortable, it was still bustling with many people. By considering that the number of tourists will continue to increase from now on, it might become a case of over-tourism in the future. Alright, so the next one is Takayama. Takayama is located in Gifu prefecture and it's surrounded by gorgeous mountain. This city is very famous for keeping the historical architecture from the Edo era, and there are various historical sites to visit. I went there last year in 2023 and also visited again this year in 2024. Actually I went there during the festival, so inevitably there were so many tourists, but I feel more and more tourists are planning to visit Takayama these years. So Soon it will be very overcrowded or maybe already. Another one you need to be careful is Hiroshima. Hiroshima is obviously known for its history and Peace Memorial Park and Atomic Bomb Dome, and this is often the destination for school excursion. It said that recently a flight between Singapore and Hiroshima has opened, and that is attracting more and more visitors, and the city is alerted to be prepared for over-tourism now. Alright, so the last one is Inuyama. Inuyama is a part of Aichi prefecture. In 2024, this city became the first across Japan in terms of inbound visitor rate. Well, I went there this year, 2024. It was a weekday, so there weren't many tourists at the time. But local people there said that there was an 80 minutes wait queue to enter the Inuyama castle during the weekend. But in recent years, Inuyama has been rapidly gaining popularity among both Japanese and foreign visitors. But at this rate, I feel there is a high possibility that it will fall into over-tourism in the near future. Alright, so if these cities are in your travel plans, you may need to be cautious. If you want to avoid crowds, while not exactly an alternative, there are other attractive places in Japan, so let me introduce some of them. Alright, so the first one is Kyushu, situated in the southern part of Japan, is called Land of Fire. Takachiho is a famous town that is steeped in Japanese mythology. Immerse yourself at Takachiho Gorge and experience the spiritual vibe away from busy cities. Nagasaki has interesting cultures that have developed since opening its port to the west and to China in 1570. Being the window to international exchanges enriched the city and allowed it to develop unique cultures, buildings, and culinary scenes. The next one is Kumano-Kodo, which is a series of ancient pilgrimage routes through the southern Kansai region. Kodo means old road and has a long history of over 1,000 years. While today several trails are open to the public, it requires multiple days, including the journey to the site, but the experience of taking at least some part of this pilgrimage route will be one of the best memory for you. This site is one of the only 2 pilgrimages that are registered as a World Heritage Site in the world. Another one is Shikoku, which is the 4th largest island. It's situated not far from Kyoto and Osaka, but maybe because it's an island, not so many international travelers reach all the way. However, this unique island, which is divided into 4 prefectures, has a stunning view of the Seto Island Sea, which is great for riding bicycle, and each prefecture has its own unique culture. For example, Kagawa Prefecture is known for udon noodles, and you will find various small shops that offer different noodles. It's a fun way to explore local cuisine. I went there in 2023 and it was amazing. The last one is the Izu Peninsula, which is about 100 kilometers, southwest of Tokyo. So actually you can get there simply by train. While this area is not so popular among international tourists yet, but for locals it has been a resort area and a great spot for a weekend getaway. While visiting the white sand beach called Shirahama Beach is a great way to relax after a busy trip. With many volcanoes, this region is also famous for hot springs with, of course, amazing views. Well, to be honest, visiting hidden gems alone is not enough to comfortably travel through, over-touristed Japan. I have compiled some travel tips that you should definitely check before visiting popular places in Japan. Alright, so thank you so much for watching. Have fun your trip to Japan. See you soon. Bye.